Let's begin with the latest update coming in on the Poonch attack in which we lost 5 of our soldiers. Intel sources have told us here on India Today that there were 5 terrorists involved, 5 attackers in all. 3 of them were foreign terrorists and 2 local terrorists were involved. The motive was to create sensation, was to grab headlines before the G20 meet. Several people reportedly have now been detained to identify, to question them about these terrorists, about their movement. There's a suspicion that they got local help as well, which is why several locals right now have also been detained. But we're picking up from intel sources that there were 5 attackers in all. Kamaljeet Sandhu is joining us with more details on this. Kamaljeet, what we're hearing right now is that of the 5, 3 were foreign terrorists and 2 were locals, which is why right now, even as the hunt continues to find these terrorists, there are several locals who are also being questioned. Kamaljeet, can you hear me? Give us a moment as we reconnect with Kamaljeet for that breaking information that's just coming in. Kamaljeet picking up details from her intel sources who've confirmed that there were 5 terrorists in all. 3 of them were foreign terrorists, 2 were locals. Remember that so far the hunt continues right now. The search operations are underway to nab these terrorists. It's believed that they would have run into the forested area, the wooded area around that particular attack site. So they are in fact hunting right now with many teams and a multi-layer operation that's currently underway to nab these terrorists. But the suspicion is that 5 terrorists were involved in this terror strike. Also, agencies believe that these terrorists, the foreign terrorists, entered into the valley from PoK and then mingled among villagers. They seem to have got some local help as well, which is something that right now the investigators, including our intel departments, our intel agencies, are looking into. There are some suspects who have also been detained right now for questioning. Those who officials, authorities believe may have helped these terrorists actually perpetrate this kind of an attack. But there, even as we're getting in all of these details, we're also hearing that as far as the motive is concerned, the idea was to go ahead and grab headlines. The idea was to put the focus on this attack ahead of a G20 meeting that's scheduled to take place, ahead of the SCO meeting as well. So at this point, authorities working overtime to crack this case and very, very importantly, to nab the terrorists. Aerial searches are underway, drones, surveillance choppers, all of that has been pressed into service. And besides that, you also in fact have several of in fact the army personnel on ground scouring through those forests. Let's round up for you all the details that are coming in right now on the Rajouri terror attack, in which tragically we lost 5 of our soldiers. Sources have told us here on India Today that overground workers helped these terrorists who had infiltrated via PoK into India. Sources further said that they lived with these villagers, mingled with them in PoK. 2 teams of NIA, one from Jammu, one from Delhi, have reached the terror spot. An 8-member forensic team is also accompanying the NIA. The army is monitoring the situation very carefully. Security has been beefed up in this area. The area where the attack took place has completely been cordoned off as well. Sources have informed India Today that the army has launched multiple special forces teams along with drone surveillance choppers who are carrying out search operations in the suspected area where the terrorists could be hiding. These soldiers were killed yesterday after their vehicle caught fire. This is a result of 50 rounds of bullets being fired by these unidentified terrorists. This terror attack comes ahead of a key G20 meet and also Pakistan Foreign Minister Bilawal Bhutto's visit to India on May 4th and 5th to attend the SCO meet in Goa. Let's get you also the political reactions that have broken out over this attack.
अभी भी ये पाकिस्तान की तरफ से घुसपैठ या हथियारों का आना जाना रहता है, जिसके माध्यम से कुछ ना कुछ लोग एक्टिव हैं। पिछले दिनों भी डीजीपी साहब ने कहा था कि काफ़ी जो मिलिटेंट्स हैं वो मार दिए गए हैं और जो सूचना आई थी बहुत कम यहाँ पर रह गए हैं। लेकिन जब इस प्रकार के हादसे होते हैं तो एक दहशत का माहौल तो बनता ही है और आर्मी पर इस प्रकार से करना अपने आप में एक चिंता का विषय है। मुझे लगता है जल्द इस पर एक्शन तो होगा ही, क्योंकि हमारी सिक्योरिटी फोर्सेस अब पहले से बहुत ज़्यादा अलर्ट रहती है।
जब सेना सुरक्षित नहीं है तो रेगुलर पुलिस और वहाँ के सिटीजनशिप के बारे में क्या कहा जा सकता है। मैं इतना ही कह सकता हूँ कि ऑनरेबल प्राइम मिनिस्टर और होम मिनिस्टर इलेक्शन ही में न व्यस्त रहें, गवर्नेंस को इम्प्रूव करें। जो गवर्नेंस एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन है कमजोर है।
Let's get to a conversation that my colleague Pooja Shali had with Army veteran Sanjay Meston on this terror attack.
Forests around. There is the suspicion of overground workers in that area who would be helping and aiding these terrorists as well. What should the government, should the armed forces do primarily to ensure that this does not escalate, does not turn into another conflict like we've seen in the Kashmir Valley? Because this is as much about trying to target the restive Jammu region as it is about the G20 meetings that are taking place. So you think, sir, this is not just a coincidence that the G20 meetings are on. This is a deliberate messaging by the terrorists to ensure that they strike at this time so that peace cannot return. So what would you advise, sir, to the government, to the armed forces to ensure this situation does not escalate?
Pooja, firstly, we have been battling insurgency, terrorism since last 3 decades and
Yes, sir.
entire decade. So our government of India and the security forces, the Indian Army is always alert and they are doing their job, I would say, extremely well. And each year, each incident gives us some lesson. Nevertheless, since you have asked this question, I personally feel that firstly we have to analyze what kind of terrain we are operating upon. The terrain south of Pir Panjal is extremely dense foliage. You know, I have myself commanded my battalion there in Rajouri, Poonch area.
Yes, sir.
And I recollect, I had once doing my training in the hinterland, and I deployed my entire battalion literally every 5 meters. And I challenged that if you can stop me. And somehow I managed to, get through these so-called defenses which we had just planned as an exercise. So what I'm trying to say is that a dense foliage, the weather and night conditions, sometimes the healthy terrain. Though our counter-infiltration grid has been deployed, but a unit which is deployed there for almost 2 years, sometimes it is very natural. Anyone who is deployed in an area for more than 2 years, he gets quite accustomed, same routine, same pattern, and therefore the terrain and the monotony of a routine sometimes does affect the performance of the people on ground. There is no doubt.